What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Texans starting running back Lamar Miller suffers a torn ACL in a preseason game versus the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. Tough news for the Texans, man, as they take a hit losing their starting running back. They recently brought in a running back that they traded for from the Cleveland Browns, and Duke Johnson. He'll be asked to carry the load now as a starting running back, man. As you know, he came out of the U in college, University of Miami, and in the fourth round, I think he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and the Texans traded for him, and they ended up trading a fourth round pick that could potentially turn into a third round pick, and they brought him in a couple of weeks ago. He has not played in any preseason game as he's been nursing an injury. But I think this past week he started practicing with the Texans, so they'll be looking for him to be the starting running back in the Monday night game versus the New Orleans Saints. But it's a tough break for the Houston Texans. Maybe you got cut day coming up Monday. Maybe they look at the picking up running back that's cut by a team that's deep at the running back position. And a team that comes to mind is the Buffalo Bills. They're pretty stacked at the running back position. They got Sean McCoy Shady, and they got Frank Gore as their top two running backs, and they got a couple of young running backs behind them that have been getting rave reviews. So maybe the Texans look to maybe make a trade, or maybe they sit back and hope the Bills maybe cut one of those running back positions. I heard they're like 4 deep at that position. 4 deep. They're real deep at that position. They got 2 real good running backs behind LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore. So maybe the Texans look to maybe make a trade. I doubt that happens since they just gave up a draft pick for running back Duke Johnson from the Cleveland Browns. They might just look to maybe get a running back, when teams make their final cuts on Monday. But again, man, tough news for the Texans, man. Lost their running back, Lamar Miller, man. He's like I said, he's a running back that's a double threat. Can run the ball. Not the best running back, but he can run the ball, and he can catch the ball out the backfield, man, as he had a real good year last year with the Texans. I think he ran for 963 yards rushing last year for the Texans, caught a lot of balls out the backfield. He's not the receiver threat like a Duke Johnson, so Duke Johnson is going to have to show that he's able to carry the rock and carry that load and be that guy that maybe can give you 15 to 20 carries a game. He hasn't shown that up to a point, but he had his moments with the Cleveland Browns, and he was underrated at the University of Miami, so I've heard reviews that he has looked good running the ball, and he's underrated as far as running the ball. He just ain't had the opportunity, in Cleveland, as he was behind 2 big-time running backs in Chubbs and Kareem Hunt. So we'll see how it plays out, man. But Texans going to have to go with running back Duke Johnson. He's the starting running back now that Lamar Miller is out for the season with a torn ACL. So we'll see what happens, man. See what the next moves the Texans will be making. Like I said, they're going to take an MRI, I think, either tomorrow or Monday, and to try to find the extent of the torn ACL. But the initial diagnosis is he has a torn ACL, and he'll be out the rest of the year. And you know what? Another thing is, man, we're going to have to start having a big discussion on preseason, man. There's a lot of people getting hurt in preseason games, man. It's going to be a real big negotiating tool in the next collective bargaining agreement. Do you want to get rid of preseason, or maybe cut it in half from 4 games to 2? Because it's becoming really unwatchable on TV, because none of the teams are playing any of their star players in fear that they're going to get hurt. So you're seeing a lot of guys playing that's not going to be on the team when the real season starts. And then when they do play a couple of their, they do play some of their star players, they're getting hurt at a seemingly alarming rate. So that's something they're going to have to discuss in the collective bargaining. That's something teams going to have to discuss going into the preseason next year and years to come. Do they want to play their stars at all? You got some teams like the Los Angeles Rams, they're not playing none of their starters, none of the preseason. And that's what it might come down to, man, with these injuries, man. Because, all since this preseason started this year, you had a lot of injuries to key players on teams. And it seems like it happens every year, year in and year out. So that's a discussion that's going to have to take place, and probably it's going to take place in a collective bargaining negotiation between the players and owners, as the owners try to get the regular season stretched from 16 games to 18 games and cut down the preseason maybe from 4 games to 2. We'll see how it plays out. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I'll holla.